The views, information, or opinions expressed during the Cult for the Culture podcast are solely those of the individuals involved. The content presented is not a substitute for seeking or seeing a licensed mental health professional.
Know what's up next, know what's up next. Healthy pleasure with it, coping for the culture. Better tune in, better tune in. Big sis, get 'em, big sis, get 'em. Coping for the culture, 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 cope.
Hey y'all, welcome to the Cult for the Culture podcast. I'm your host, Tiana Renee, the Culture's Advocate. On this show, we interview individuals from different walks of life who are dedicated to being the change within the culture as it relates to various topics and their effect on the world of mental health. On today's show, I have the pleasure to speak with Mr. Kareem Manuel, the founder of We Society and an urban gardener. I had the chance to catch him on a few different live events at this point on Instagram and hear a lot of the great things that he had to say. So I wanted to get him on the show so we could get this information out to more people. It made me happy to see the work that he is doing and how he is just helping the culture and helping the community. So I want to go ahead and introduce Mr. Kareem Manuel to the show. Welcome, Kareem.
Thank you very much. Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I feel absolutely incredible. It's a wonderful day.
It is a wonderful day. So for my shout out, I want you to just go ahead and share why it's a wonderful day for you and some of the great things you had going on today.
Yeah, so my company, We Society, is working on some shirts to give love and spread love to medical workers and emergency workers. I'm excited about that. My work that I do started from a labor of love for my family, and I spent some time this morning speaking to my grandmother about just ways she could eat differently and take better care of herself. And she was in a very receptive space.
Okay.
Because of everything that's going on. So that was exciting. Also, my stepmother, I had a conversation with her as well. And then I just got a chance to do a live on my page, sharing and teaching about starting your own home garden and ways you can start to grow your own food, which I think is really, really important, especially at this time. So I just love what I do. I love getting to live my purpose every day. And today was a good reminder of that.
It was. It made me happy to see y'all out and about as safe as y'all can be and still trying to get the word out to people to live healthy and eat healthy and
absolutely
be better. Okay, so tell us a little bit. Well, first, see, I'm trying to get in already.
That's all right.
I love to ask people what their self-care practice is. So I love when I get men up here because I love to hear the different ways that you guys practice self-care. I know that all the bubbly things that women like to do aren't necessarily the same things. So What is your practice?
I have so many things that I do, so I kind of just give a list. This Sunday, I'm going camping with some brothers. I love being outside in nature. It just slows you down, get back to the roots. I garden, farm pretty much at this point. I just don't have animals. But it's a very good meditation for me. Breath work, I do breath work every morning, also sometimes at night. Just different types of breaths that center me. I journal now.
Yes, journal. I love journal. Okay.
Yes. I was part of a Tantra challenge, 21-day Tantra challenge, and part of the exercise was journaling, just expressing how you feel. And I never liked journaling because it's hard for me to slow down enough to get my thoughts out on paper. It's like I just want to keep. So it's been a good practice for me to just say, this is how I feel today, or this is what happened, or this is what I want to happen. And then every new moon and full moon, I have a ritual. I have a different ritual for each one. One is an intention setting. One is a letting go. It no longer serves me. And that's been really helpful to just kind of be in tune with the cycles. And then, just eating lots of fruit and drinking water.
And minding your business.
Minding my Black-owned business.
You have quite a regimen for self-care.
Yeah, honestly, it's become just my life. Like I like feeling good. I like taking care of myself. I didn't realize how sick I felt until I felt better, and so I don't feel some type of burden. Like I gotta take care of myself. I gotta make sure I'm doing X, Y, and Z. These are just my habits at this point. And I started small. I started with one thing, and the better I feel doing that thing, it just leads into I wonder what that'll feel like. I wonder if this will help me. And as things help me, I keep them going. I don't put pressure on myself. I just like feeling good. I like being healthy.
And there's nothing wrong with that at all. All. So tell the listeners more about what We Society is and how you started it.
We Society is my lifestyle brand. Our main shirt says "we," period, because that was the phrase I kept saying. I started it because Donald Trump came down an escalator and announced that he was going to run for president. And I knew he was going to win. At that time, it seemed unfathomable to everybody else. But I was a part of an organization that let me see kind of the underbelly of America. And I knew he had enough followers and people who loved what he was talking about to win. And I just kept thinking, what could I put out in the universe that would help us come together and help people who look like me and felt marginalized, disenfranchised, unheard, not be wasting, in my opinion, wasting our energy trying to convince people who benefit off of our suffering to stop benefiting and help us. And it was just like, we've been at this for half a millennia now. We really need to get about taking care of ourselves.
Right.
And I also saw that in America, business was safe. Jay-Z can say what he wants. Diddy can say what he wants because they generate so much income for other people.
Right.
It's not just a good message. Malcolm X had a good message and he was killed, shouts out to Malcolm X. So I started it. I was a rapper at the time. I made a t-shirt. My friend Hector designed it. That was with this song that I made that said, "We have the power." When I saw the shirt, it just looked so good. It was so beautiful, so bold, so simple. And I said, "Oh, this is what I do. This is what I do now." And I quit my job about 6 months later, and I've been a full-time entrepreneur ever since.
Wow. I always applaud people who can just jump ship. Like, I'm like, oh yes.
It's
follow your dream.
It's great. It's not without tons and tons of sacrifice.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, and so I tell people who have a job, enjoy it. Don't feel guilty. I used my job to fund my dream, and it went great. But if you have a job in this stage, your side hustle, like learn all of the mistakes that you can make. Learn all the ways to make things run.
Right.
The ideal situation, maybe not ideal, but one of the things I say to people is let your dream demand that you have to come and be full time. Where it's just like, yo, I'm at a point where if this is gonna keep growing, I gotta give all my energy to this, and then jump, or just jump. I think the universe is gonna roll with you however you want to move.
Right. Either way, if you set it up, it's gonna come through for you. Yep. So, you started out as a rapper. You came through when all of this stuff with 45 happened. And so, how has that blossomed now into like the work that you are doing with We Society?
Yeah. So the mission of We Society was like, we are the ones we've been waiting for. And the concept is we keep, in my opinion, looking for something outside of ourselves to rescue us. We look at our neighborhoods, we look at our family relationships, we look at our romantic relationships. And if we're really about it, we're looking at the relationship we have with ourselves and we're disappointed often, frustrated, angry. Even now with the quarantine, and you realize that the people who are supposed to be in charge don't have a fucking clue what to do. And if they do, it definitely isn't beneficial for you.
Right.
And so the work I do now is just a continual outpouring of that, of how can I live a life that says my life is mine. Where I end up is going to be based on the work that I put in, and not just the hard work of going outside and doing hard work, but the internal work of loving myself and all of myself. Dealing with my patterns that sabotage me, of trusting the patterns and the intuition that wants to help me. So like growing my own food is more of like, we're the ones we're waiting for. If they say no one leave their house at all.
Where are we at?
These stores are shut down and the only places that you can shop are these government approved places, especially considering what we know of the government and things that they have done. I was just like, no. So I want to inspire people to work together, to work their best and their hardest to make changes that they know should happen in the world, and not wait for somebody to give them permission to start to make those changes.
Ooh, you know, that permission part is the hardest part, though.
Especially for us.
Why do you think that is for us? That we wait for the permission to be given, and that's not everybody, but
but no, it's generational trauma. There's a wonderful book by Dr. Joy named Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, and it just talks about, because of the severe abuses that have been done to Black and brown people, again, for half a millennium, there is a trained way of maneuvering and viewing the world. And I think even the most aware or awake one of us still is going to wrestle with that.
Right.
We don't want to be ostracized from our family. Like when I'm plant-based, I stopped eating meat and stuff like 3 years ago. The hardest part wasn't finding food that tastes good. It was not being able to have Thanksgiving dinner with my family.
Yes.
Right?
Because it's hard.
It's hard. I'm thinking a new thing. I'm doing a new thing. But now I'm isolated. Now I'm alone.
Right.
And you don't know. We're not designed to be alone. So that permission part is like, no, we don't want to look crazy. We don't want to be the one everybody rolls their eyes at and talks about privately. We don't want to be alone. We don't want to be made fun of. We don't want to be wrong. We don't want to get beat down. We don't want to, be embarrassed. A lot of us are afraid to fail.
That's a big one.
Oh yeah. And I just was like, but I don't like this life that I'm living right now. Everybody else is happy with me, but I'm living it, and I know this is bullshit.
Yeah.
This is not what I'm supposed to be doing. And I have too many millionaire friends that are miserable.
Money don't make you happy.
Not at all.
It does not make you happy. It gives you more resources.
That's it. And so
it helps you navigate the world, but it don't. That's it.
That's it. If you haven't done the work, you're still just not able to sleep. You're still worried about, who wants you for what, all these things.
Yeah.
And so I read The Miseducation of the Negro that was published in 1939. I read it again in 2016 and was floored about how relevant it still was.
Yeah.
And one of his things was they taught us how to think, and so they control our actions. They taught us how to process the information of our lives,
right?
So they know our interactions and reactions to life is limited to a certain type of engagement, and it brings about the same results. So our grandparents had the same problems our parents had, that we have, that we're going to give to our kids if we don't make new choices. And I was just like, I got to make some new choices. I'd rather look a plum food with some new data to share with my family and say, hey guys, I was wrong. I'd rather do that. Come back and be like, I tried this and that. I was doing meditation and blah, blah, and that didn't work for me. But I'm not going to do the same thing. I just can't do it.
And it seems like it's worked for you. And that was like majority of the reason why when I watched the live with you and Sade and the things that you were saying, and I was like, this stuff is powerful, one. Two, within our culture, as it relates to man, the vision of what a man is supposed to be is so different. And when it comes into venturing more into self and looking within and reflecting and growing as a person, it's not the same process as it is for women, I feel. So how was that for you to transform? I know you said some isolation.
Tons of isolation. I was alone for like the first 2 years. I felt alone. So I was married, and that ended up like not being able to make it through the transformation.
Okay.
We're good friends, good co-parents, all that, but it's just I transformed.
Okay.
The friends I had, I was desperately trying to hold on to, because I'm looking at all these people I look up to, the Jay-Z's, the LeBrons, the Kanye's, and they're all rocking with the people that were there from high school. My story, my therapist, I got into therapy. So I got, like, right away, I started going to therapy.
Therapy.
And I would say stuff like that to my therapist, and she would say, yes, and that's not your story. And it was just like simple matter of fact. Like, that's great to aspire to that, but that's not your story. At least not right now. And I would just be like, you're right. And so I would say women have been leading the way for a while. In terms of self-reflection, engagement, but that's also because they've done so much to put the burden on us where we think being tough. Even the book I was saying I read, he just talks about you don't have time or space to say you're tired. You better get out there and provide, or people look at you like you're a failure. We have real mental health things going on with our men specifically, and they don't feel like I can stop doing whatever it is and just take care of myself because they've never even seen a picture of what that looks like.
Talk about it. Yes.
I just stood up. I imagined if I was a king. This is the imagination I said. I said, if I was a king, what type of advisors would I want and what would they be teaching me? And it was like, I would care about my people and the food we were eating. I would care about the money that we're making and who are our trade partners and what are we creating and what are we doing. I would care about who our enemies are and are they still my enemies? And as I did that, I realized I had a lot of advisors in my own mind that were trash.
Oh, okay.
They didn't know anything about making money. My advisors in my mind didn't know anything about eating healthy, didn't know anything about education or what I actually should be learning. Everything was based on whatever the school told me. But the school's not going to teach me how to win. They're going to teach me how to work.
Right.
And then I guess the last thing to answer your question, my soul just wouldn't let me settle anymore. I tried to hypnotize myself again a few times to go back to how things were. And my soul was just like, no, you have to stand up. And I did. And it's been the absolute best time of my life. It's been the hardest, best time of my life these last 3 years.
Wow. And I mean, I can imagine it is. Like, even in my family, we don't have a lot of men. It's like my brother, my uncle, my granddad. Like, and now we have, it's like every generation we get one. So the youngest is like 7. And so for us, it was always the way we operated was the way it went. I know that was hard for my brother and for my uncle to be dominated in a family where it is all women and you don't have the opportunity to stand up or be free or be a person. Like, yes, you're a little boy, or yes, you're a man, but men still have feelings. Men still deal with mental health things just like the next person.
I think men probably have more feelings.
Ooh. Say it again. Just say it again.
We really do. We have more feelings. Why? I watch basketball with my sons, or if I have like a romantic partner I'm interested in or something, whatever. And you'll watch somebody dunk on somebody, and they're screaming and foaming out the mouth. And I say that's the happiest he's ever been. Right? But he looks like, I'm gonna eat you.
Right.
Our stuff is so complex, so connected, and our energy flows. But we're taught to use it to go to war. Right. We're taught to use it to dominate. And I don't ever tell a man not to be aggressive. Okay. Right? I'm very aggressive. Like, I'm sensitive. I will cry and I will fight you.
All in one breath.
All in one. I have a very large dog. I have a machete. I'm outside. I live outside half the time. And I will sit here and like breathe and meditate with you. And, it's like the scope of the ability of how wide my emotions can go are unlimited the more I tap into them. And we just have so much suppression over our emotions that we feel like the only emotions we have are like happy, sad, jealousy, or anger. And it's like we have so much more. We just haven't seen good examples of tapping into those and expressing them. And I believe that our communities are like desperately waiting for that.
For the message, yes, for the words. Because I mean, I do trauma therapy, and a lot of the work that we do is teaching kids feelings and what they mean. It's baffling to sit down and see how many words there are to describe a feeling or emotion, and then think about the ones that we use on a regular basis. It's probably a good 10 that we use in relation to the hundreds of words that there are.
All the time.
And it just baffles me. Yeah. Right. What does that mean? Are you rageful? Or like which one is it? But we don't teach that. Yeah, and we're not taught. So how do you think because I was going to ask, like, what is your perspective on us growing and evolving as people? Like, what do you think it's going to take for us? And I think a big part of what we started talking about is mending the gap between sexes, like what the role is. And I've done a gender role episode, but I feel like in this sense is different.
Yeah.
Like, because now we're talking about healing and growing and changing.
I view it as masculine and feminine.
Okay.
And I feel like you can be masculine and have a gender that's female.
Right.
And I believe you can be feminine and have a gender that's masculine. That's my, I know for us, that's also a big fight. It's like,
yes, but there is feminine and masculine energy. That's a real
absolutely. The book, I'm reading a book now called The Spirit of Intimacy. It's an African book. Sabanfu Some wrote it, and she talks about how the women in her village have a ritual, a practice where they will go and be masculine for a weekend.
Oh, wow.
Where they'll practice like rising up that masculine energy just to feel what it feels like. They'll go hunting, even if they don't actually find a way to kill anything.
Right.
They'll just, so it helps them better understand their men. And the men have a ritual where they'll go and practice living in their feminine energy and not suppressing it. And they'll weep together and they'll share like what's on their heart. And when they come back, they're more aligned and more in tune.
Yeah.
And it helps them. And so I really just feel like me as a masculine man, embracing all of my masculinity, something about when I walk free and true as myself, not who people expect me to be, not the dreams people had of me, but who I actually am.
Right.
I give permission to everyone around me to be themselves, to drop things. I forget who it is who said it, but he said, awakening is often not working harder or doing things. It's letting go. It's a shedding.
It's a shedding.
Letting go of what you're not. And I think that all of our relationships do better when we really love ourselves and know who we are, and they can bring that to the table and give permission to other people to say, you can be you and you're loved here. You're accepted here. You're embraced here.
And that's so valid and important. And I know, like, I try to be so transparent up here. And I know a big part of my work recently is tearing down the pictures that I've drawn of people and seeing who they actually are. Because I have that thing in me where it's like, oh, no, people have the ability to change. People, you know, they can operate and do the same things you do. People are capable. All of those things are true. And also people can also be something different and can have shown you that. And so I think that's important to give people from day one. This is who you say you are. This is how you operate in the world. This is how you move. I have to accept that. And what I want to see in the vision that I have is not appropriate for you. So we getting into it now?
Listen now. There are two things I want to say. One, let me start with me first. What you just said is so true. And I had to recognize that about myself. I had to recognize who I was and accept who I was, right? I had a picture of myself that I saw.
Yes.
And so the bullshit that I'm bringing, the negative stuff that I'm doing, I'm not nearly as hard on or, you know, aware of as I am in someone else. Because I got this magical picture of myself that I'm. And so I couldn't start getting any better until I could tell the truth. To say, you know, I was 250 pounds 3 years ago. Okay. And I was on 7 medications every day.
Wow.
5 pills and 2 sprays every day. And I have been wrestling with this for 10 years. And I had to just say, Kareem, you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
Right? You keep doing these weight loss challenges. You keep joining these groups. You don't know. You don't know what you're doing. And it wasn't until I admitted that, like, I'm a fool in this area. That's when I finally got the help. And then the same thing you just said is also true. The hardest part for me with other people was, yes, I love creating images for what I need from other people. And letting them live in that, not recognizing they're not even close. Like, who they actually are, what they're actually doing is not what I'm.
No, we're just allowing it to be. Yes. Yeah.
And when I could just let stuff be what it was, like the reality of the situation, life got so much easier. I mean, there was definitely a deep grieving time.
Right.
When it was like, I thought this person was this for me.
Yes.
And it's
yes.
like, no, they're not.
Mm-hmm.
But I've known them since I was, but we've been through this together and blah, blah. It's like, yes, but.
All of that is true. And no. And no.
And no. And so I had to do it for both. First, I had to do it internally.
Yeah.
And the more I told the truth about myself to myself, then the more I could see the truth of others. And it isn't to judge, because as people leave and it's going to be who they are,
yes.
they make the connections they need to make and the relationship they need to make. It's just like, hey, this is not, like how many times have you had a toxic friend or toxic for you, a bad friend, but because y'all have a lot of fun together or whatever it is you tell yourself.
Right. The image you create.
The image, I'm telling you, man, if we can't kill that image, we just keep stuck in the same cycle.
Over and over again.
Wondering how, because the people change, the names have changed, or you wearing new clothes, or you got a new job. It's like, but you are the same.
You are the same. The situation is the same. The people you encounter is the same. The experiences you have are the same. You talk about it now, okay? But I mean, and I think where it becomes difficult, and this is something that I've been battling with too, is grieving who Tiana was before and accepting where Tiana is walking to. And that's hard. And I know it's hard for most people. And a lot of times when it comes to things like mental health, self-evaluations, growth, reflection, people are like, no, thank you, because it's hard. It's not easy work to do.
People don't want to wake up. People don't want a cure. They want relief. They want to feel better about where they are. They don't want to change where they are. And when I say they, I include myself. That's why I call the company we, right? It's not a finger pointing. This is just the truth of us. I walked around that first 2 years. If I ran into old friends and things like that, and they would ask me how I was doing, oftentimes I would say, I'm grieving. And they would be like, what?
Right, because when people ask, they're not looking for a real answer. How you doing? Fine, and keep walking.
Oh, yeah. I'm good, bro. You know what I'm saying? Just grinding and aligning, just feeling like, man, I would be like, yo, I'm grieving. What are you grieving? It's like, man, I'm grieving my whole life. I'm grieving the relationships I've had. I'm grieving who I thought I was. I'm grieving where I thought I was going. Yeah. I'm grieving the time. Like, I'm grieving. And it was so liberating to acknowledge, to say it.
It is.
I wasn't depressed. I was sad, though. And I was able to say, I'm sad. I thought I had so many answers and so many things figured out, and I was wrong. I thought me and this person was going to go to, us against the world. We were going to build this company. We were going to start this family. We were going to do whatever. And then I had to say, like, no, I can't keep going like this. Like, I'm grieving. But that process, that time of letting it die has like skyrocketed me, has launched me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. Waking up is hard.
It is, because the other part of me grieving myself is I also have to allow the people around me to grieve, because we expect that when we make these immediate changes that people are going to fall in line, and they're not. Like, they're not. It's hard for us to see somebody different. It's just like when things come out in the news for people we've idolized, and it's like, oh my God, they would never. And
I can't believe.
And it takes us a long time to knock that down. And it's the same for the people around us. So the whole process is just a continuous cycle of, okay, let me shed this. All right, this is me now. Okay, go back around. Okay, I got to shed this too. Okay, I'll be back around in a few minutes.
And when you think you're done shedding, you know how many times I thought I was done? I was like, okay, I have grown.
I have reached mastery. This is it.
And then life is like,
It's like you reach that level, but this is the next level where I add this, and this to see how you responded the first time. But now it's more, and it's like, okay then.
If that's what I tell people, I used to be a pastor, and I learned very early what I call the mountaintop experience.
Yes.
When you go to the mountaintop and you hear from God, and then you come back down thinking it's going to be, everybody going to feel the same way. And you're like, yo, I got the 10 Commandments. And the people are like, what? Or you're like, yo, we can be free. Pharaoh, like, we're going to tell Pharaoh, let us go. And the people are like, nah.
Actually, I'm a pass. Thanks, though.
And so you come, you're like, yo, I got this vision. I see clearly. We're going to eat like this. We're going to move. We're going to do this. I'm awake. I'm taking control of my life. I'm going to blah, blah. And people are like, no. I liked you like this. I thought you were like this. I remember someone I really care about sitting down when they found out what was going on with me, and I'm like, I'm happy. I'm like, I'm in GQ magazine. I'm talking about, I've never gone to fashion school, and I'm running a clothing line out of nowhere. I'm getting articles written up, like athletes and celebrities are trying to grab my stuff, and I'm sitting there, and this person, I love this person, and she's just weeping. She's just like, you just changed so much, and I just feel so bad, and I was like, oh, because I had grieved the last 2 years, so now
I'm good now. Now it's your turn. Oh, okay.
Yep, and so I had to hold space for this person grieving the old me when I'm a new me. It's so, listen, it gets trippy sometimes, but
it's hard.
It's a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful process if you can just allow yourself to go through it.
And something you said stuck out to me because it's funny how there's a lot of similarities here, but on episode 1 I talked a lot about like why I took a break and the fact that I wasn't coming back and all the things that I was going through. And within that time, when people would ask me like, how are you doing, I was real too. Like life isn't great, but I'm here. And they'd be like, oh, but it's like, for me too, it was liberating because that's really how I feel. I'm not shooting just stuff out of my mouth just to say stuff. This is really how I feel. Take it or leave it. I'm sorry. I'm just not in the best of spaces. I'll be back shortly, momentarily, but right now, where I'm at. And so I know how hard that was for me to say it, but then to see people's faces and reactions to me, like, I know you're hurting for me, but we just gotta just let this be. Like, we have to be able to be in a space to say, these are my feelings. And this is the way that I feel right now. This isn't going to be forever, but right now where I'm at is it's either great or it's not.
And that's it. That's it. I think that's somebody who like loves themselves and is in control of themselves.
Yes.
Right? To even be able to change your mind, to say, I feel this way, but I won't always. I just remember people going like, hey, I thought you didn't do that. And I would say, well, today I do.
Change my mind. I'm allowed to do that.
I'm allowed. It's like, what are you talking about? But I'm liberated.
Yeah.
To pursue my best interests and to see myself and my patterns, to recognize how I flow, that there are days where the moon is going to be messing with my energy, right? And so I might feel tired, but it isn't because I'm lazy. It's like, oh, today is a day I just need to like recuperate.
Rest, yeah. My body is what's up, and that's okay.
And that's more than okay. And there's gonna be other times where I'm be able to run. I tell people all the time, because they were like, how are you doing this? How are you? I said, I take such good care of myself. My hour of work is equivalent to a lot of people's 6 or 7 hours of work. Because I'm so full of myself. I'm so full of love and joy for what I do and who I am and where I'm going, that my focused hour will produce more fruit than somebody who's miserable and they're doing the same task for 8 hours. Because I'm spending most of the time just investing in me. My cup is full. And if it's not, it's getting full. I'm gonna be here till it's full.
Yeah.
I do think a shift is happening.
I do too. I will say, and I've been trying to say on each episode, I don't want to make everything about COVID, but one thing I will say about COVID and the amount of people that are coming up and speaking and providing a voice for people, and just the amount of collaboration, like the fact that I've known Sade for years and we've never met, me and you. And so it's like, just, I don't know, the world's shifting, the world's doing something. I know
absolutely
has a different perspective, but I do feel like we're going more so to the direction of where we need to be.
No, 100%. And it doesn't matter what religion you hold, what spiritual, where you land on the conspiracy of what COVID is or not.
Right.
People are asking themselves the important and hard questions today when they weren't yesterday.
Right.
What do I really care about? Who really is my tribe?
Yep.
What do I want to be doing? with myself. I said on one interview I had this week or something, I had a friend call me and she was just like, I don't want to go back to life how it was.
No.
I like this. I like doing what I like to do. I like meditating and breathing and thinking about myself. I like who I'm becoming now. I don't want to go back to that anxious feel, like
stressed,
running from things. And stress becomes such a part of our everyday life. We don't even realize. I'm telling you, when I got healthy, I looked back at myself and said, damn, I felt like shit.
Yeah. How addicted our body becomes to stress. That we thrive for it and we want it, and it's just like, why am I always in something? Because your body's like, what's the next thing? Like, this is what we're used to. Let's get it. Come on, blood's pumping. Let's do what we gotta do.
Yep.
Okay.
And then so I agree with you. I don't mind talking about COVID. I don't have the energy to come up with theories, right?
No,
I don't know.
I
don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know if man made it. I don't know if nature made it. I don't know if man accidentally made it or if it's intentional. I don't know. What I do know is
it's here.
It's here. Our immune systems are compromised, and so we're afraid because we know that somehow internally, intrinsically, we know our bodies are not operating at the levels that they could be or should be.
Right.
We know a lot of that is our own doing because we're not eating things that are healthy and good for us.
Right.
If you're listening right now and you're like, man, I don't know, I would just encourage you, next time you go to your grocery store, look at the aisles for all the potions and pills you need to eat the way that you eat. Right? If you got to take a pill to swallow something, it's your body saying not to swallow it.
Mm-hmm.
If you got to take a potion or a liquid to eat or drink something because you love it, that's your body trying to tell you, please stop eating this.
Right.
I was having to take Lactaid because I'm from Chicago, so I love deep dish pizza, right? Okay. I'm taking two Lactaids so I can keep eating the pizza. And I was like, I shouldn't have to do this. I shouldn't have to
prepare a meal.
So all that to say, what this has brought to the surface is like how you really feel about yourself and your surroundings, how you really feel about what you're doing, how you really feel about life every day.
Right.
If you're waking up every day, because there are some people that are like, man, what you're really going through, it's really hard, really. And I was like, I don't know, I'm not having that experience. But I'm so out of the rat race and the stress field.
Yeah. Everybody's different right now.
Yeah, everybody's I'm just trying to say we're invited to another way of living.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another style of living where peace and love reigns. It's not without struggle or strife. That's never going to lead.
That's never going to be the case. Yep.
It's not without hard work, but it is without what you said, the addiction to stress and drama and anxiety that a lot of us have had since children.
And it's not our fault.
And you don't have to carry it.
Nope.
You can let it go. Collectively, we are letting it go, and we're making some different choices. And I'm really proud. I'm proud of what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
I'm proud of the questions that we're asking. I'm proud of the people who are creating things at this time, who are not just wallowing in despair. And even if you are using that to create, like, that's the point. It's like you can be wherever you are. And that's fine. And learning how to be okay there is really important. It's like, I'm depressed right now. There were times I was depressed, for sure. And I would just say that. Yeah, I'm depressed.
Yeah.
That's how I got out.
You gotta name it to tame it.
Yeah.
It's weird though. I'm not gonna lie. When I first started saying it out loud, because I'm an open person anyway, so I'm usually going to say what's on my mind. Like 9 times out of 10, I'm going to. But sometimes I'm just like, oh, I really don't feel like saying stuff because I don't feel like being judged. I don't feel like somebody looking at me differently. So I'm just. So when I was saying that, I was like, oh, you're saying real things now. You're not even filtering what's coming out of your mouth at this point. And not like I was being mean or negative, but it was just like, no.
It was the truth. The real truth was just coming out.
How are you doing? I'm not okay, but I'm here. Thank you for asking.
Yep.
And keep moving.
That's so freeing.
It is, and it takes work, and I don't want to sit up here and say this and make people think it's the easiest thing in the world to do, because it is not.
It isn't.
It takes work, but it's so worth it.
But it's necessary. Yeah, you can't. I mean, just think about how hard it was to maintain a relationship not telling the truth. Right? It's like, what's the point of this friendship if I can't be real?
I can't be real with you. Yeah.
And then when you start being real and realize you can't be friends with a lot of people, and that's okay. It's like, man, I'd rather have 3 people that I'm like actually know who I am and know what's going on than 50 people and we just like look good in pictures together.
Right.
You know, talk about our favorite TV shows or whatever. Yeah. I'm all right. You can miss me without that.
Nothing of substance.
I'm straight.
And that's real.
Yeah.
Call a spade a spade. So this is the part of the show where I like to call Let's Advocate. So we've said a lot about how we can change the state of our culture and the way that we view life. But if there was one thing that you could say right now that you would absolutely change to help us go in a different direction as it relates to mental health and self-care within Black and brown communities, what would
I honestly would say food.
Okay.
We were given slave food and we made it soul food. And I'm so proud of us for that, right?
Resourceful.
We are so resourceful. Yeah. So they literally gave us pig guts and we figured out how to make it delicious.
Yeah.
They gave us pig back. They gave us a bunch of trash. They gave us the stuff they didn't want. Even the peanut. Carter G. Wilson's like, yo, I got 1,000 ideas to do with this. Yeah. But we're still eating like we're on the plantation. If you look at a movie like Soul Food, Big Mama dies of diabetes. All the drama happens, and at the end of the movie, they get back together and eat the same trash. Right?
Because it's them, not me. It affected them. It's not going to affect me like that.
And you look around. I mean, I've had to say, I talked to my grandma. She was asking me about herbs she can take that didn't interfere with her high blood pressure medicine. I said, Grandma, who else got high blood pressure? She said, well, me, your father, your Uncle Sha, your Aunt Corrine, Lil Sha, Aunt Bessie, pretty much everybody in the house.
Oh, my goodness.
And what happens to us is they give out these stats that we're, whatever percentage more likely to get these diseases because we're Black or brown.
Yeah, predisposed.
When really, we're training ourselves to get diabetes and high blood pressure and high cholesterol. And I'm not trying to shame anybody. I really get our parents fed us these things in love.
In love, yeah.
In love.
You can't do what you don't know. We did the best with what we had, but there are different things.
There are different things. Dr. Sebi says that every disease just comes from mucus in the body. Mucus on the brain turns into paranoia or schizophrenia, depression. Mucus in the joints turns into arthritis or lupus. Mucus in the lungs turns into pneumonia. And mucus comes from eating the wrong foods and negative thoughts. And so if there's one thing I would just say, if you could just start to move towards a more plant-based diet, even if you never get rid of meat altogether, we treat meat like the main part of the meal for every single meal. And we're paying the penalty for that. Right. Even COVID apparently started from somebody eating a bat. And it's like, the earth is like, yo, it's time out for this. Yeah. Like y'all are out of balance and everything about your life is screaming it at you. And so just YouTube is your best friend. Google is your best friend. You can start making some different choices with what you eat, which will also change the chemical makeup of your body to help you relax. Last thing I'll say about the food, if you ask any real hunter, which I respect hunter, if you're gonna eat, then you go out and kill it. If you're gonna kill an animal, you wanna kill it fast, because all of the chemicals that its mind and heart releases as it dies is pumped into the meat. That's why they shoot.
Thought about that.
Yes, that's why they shoot a deer in the heart, kill it right away. That's why they snap the neck of the chicken real fast. Because if it dies slow, if it dies miserable, if it dies full of adrenaline and anxiety, all that is pumped in the blood through the body.
Yeah.
And so when you're eating stuff from these stores where you know the cows have been mistreated its entire life, the chickens have never seen sunlight, have never been treated well, the pig, right? You're eating miserable meat, sad meat, anxiety-filled meat, and you're wondering, why do I struggle with anxiety all the time? Those hormones are pumping through your body and they're not even yours. So you're just afraid and you don't even know why. You're like, what is this anxiety attack? And it's like, you just ate the anxiety every single meal, for the last 3 months. So please let's just eat some more fruits and veggies, please. And we'll just watch how your life transforms. And let's just start from there.
Start from there.
Thank you for letting me get on my soapbox about that.
That's okay. One step at a time. I mean, people need information and different perspectives, and that's why when I see stuff, I'm like, yep, I need a different perspective, and that's a perspective that I would want people to hear.
Yeah.
So I wanted to give you the opportunity to plug all the work that you're doing and things that are going on for you right now. I know you talked about your farm a little bit in the beginning, but you didn't say a lot about it, so I want to give you that space.
Yeah, thank you. It's a crew I have down here in Atlanta. A bunch of Black brothers have gotten together, and we have planted a few. What started off as gardens. I live on an acre, and so I've taken half of my yard at the moment, and we have started to plant things that we're going to use to sell and serve to the community. Mm-hmm. I also connected to other community gardens here, and so people have been supporting, literally sending money through Cash App or buying us stuff from Amazon that we need, wheelbarrows, and all that type of stuff. But we started from scratch, and I'm out there every day.
Yeah.
I am self-employed. I'm an entrepreneur, so I sell T-shirts and clothes that help inspire and help us aspire to better for ourselves and for our community. So please go to WeSociety.co and purchase some merchandise, or hit me up on IG if you just want to send me some cash to, keep growing these crops and things like that. And
what's your Instagram?
You said what up?
Your Instagram handle.
WeSociety.co is the website and IG handle, and then I'm we.Kareem, okay. Kareem. And then the last thing, I'm launching my men's work, like counseling thing. I'm with a group called Sacred Sons, and so our first session will be next Wednesday, and it's just a safe space for men to come and drop in and share. I'll be sharing some exercises to do, but it's a lot more of just listening and loving, and I've had some amazing time with Sacred Sons, and so that launches next Wednesday, April 26th, I believe it is, or 29th. I get 6s and 9s mixed up sometimes.
Okay.
So that's what's going on with me. Feel free to follow me on any social media channel that you can, and any support that can be sent or lent would be greatly appreciated and utilized.
Yes. And I will be sure to put all of that information in the show notes, so people can see and access that. And I want to just thank you so much for coming up here and speaking with me. This was a great conversation. I'm super excited I say excited all the time, but I'm really excited.
No, for sure. I appreciate it.
And I really appreciate just vibing with you, going back and forth about the stuff that we were talking about. So thank y'all, as always, for tuning in to the Cult for the Culture podcast. I'm your host, Tiana Renee, and I'm out this thing. Bye, y'all. Hey, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. It's Tiana Renee here. To make sure you stay up to date on all information related to Cope for the Culture, be sure to follow us on social media. We are on Instagram at Cope for the Culture Podcast, Twitter at Cope, 4, the Culture, and on Facebook at Cope for the Culture Podcast. As always, I appreciate you for tuning in. Bye, y'all.